after you.
No, after you.
No, seriously, you first.
Why do you always do that? I can't leave last?
As the key holder, I'm the last one to leave. That's the way it's been done since the beginning of video stores.
Wait, so if you're the key holder, then what am I?
Welcome to Rewind Video. I'm Bob.
I'm Rob.
And we love movies. Good ones, bad ones, old ones, new ones, traditional cinema, movies that blaze new trails, and everything in between.
A lot of blazing in the movies I watch.
Yeah, no doubt. So, it's become something of a tradition here, as you know, that when we interview potential new hires, we ask each candidate to recite their favorite line from the infinitely quotable Battlefield Earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did I get hired?
Excellent question.
I must have just watched it.
I mean, there's no shortage of great dialogue to choose from. Someone, for instance, could cite Travolta saying, "While you were still learning how to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies."
Yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Yeah. Or Travolta saying again, "I'm going to make you as happy as a baby cyclo on a straight diet of Kerbango."
Yeah. You know what's a big tradition around here?
What's that?
You trying very hard to get Battlefield Earth into the podcast.
Well, I mean,
I wouldn't say you're straining.
no.
But you're
No,
getting
no, no, no,
close.
no.
You're getting close. It's beads of sweat are forming over there.
I mean, if it's not going to go on the shelf, it deserves to be recognized somehow.
Not so sure about that, but we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. All right, so it is kind of a wonder that anybody got hired with this sort of criteria for an interview. But of course, we made the cut somehow, and it is up to us to keep the staff recommendation shelf flush with new movies that are deserving of our customers' attention here at the store. And each time we cycle in new films, we adhere to a theme. This week's theme is tradition.
And to mark the occasion, we are both wearing our customary podcasting robes.
That's right.
Hats. Big, tall podcasting hats.
Big, tall podcasting.
Tradition.
Yes. We're just doing it like we always do.
Yeah. There's no tradition like recording a podcast about movies you rented from a video store.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I had some fun with this theme. And, I think you can take it in a variety of ways. At first, I thought to myself, well, this could be about movies that I watch as a tradition.
Yeah.
Or movies that feature traditions in the films. I ended up steering clear of the former, but I have a hunch that one of yours is maybe...
There's a little bit of that.
realm.
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, good.
I think going to a video store with your friends and or family to pick out a movie to watch that night or maybe in the next couple of nights, I think that might be the quintessential movie tradition. I think you will agree with that.
Tradition is all its time.
Yeah. It's way more than like going to a theater or anything else.
Yeah, and one that will never, ever go away.
I know. That's what's so comfortable about it, because you're just like, this isn't going anywhere.
Right, yeah.
I'm always going to be able to just stroll down the street listening to podcasts on my smartphone and earbuds,
right.
Going to the local video store. This is just something everyone's doing.
I know that as a middle-aged man, I can safely retire down the road from this job, maybe pass along my badge to my children so that they can pick up the mantle and continue working at the video store. It's, it's timeless.
Yeah, we can pass this down to generations.
Yeah. Well, fun. Yeah, I did find myself thinking a little bit about the difference between tradition and rituals, which maybe...
Or superstition.
Yeah.
You could split hairs. We don't care too much about that around here.
I think the circles kind of overlap in the Venn diagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Tradition,
like many rituals are a tradition.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. And for that reason, our picks are valid.
Yes.
Well, speaking of, why don't you get us started as you always do with your first pick for tradition?
Okay, I'm going to start us off in 1993. The movie is Dazed and Confused. Filed under Joint Ventures.
Love it.
Back of the box. The adventures of a group of Texas teens on their last day of school in 1976, centering on student Randall Floyd, who moves easily among stoners, jocks, and geeks. Floyd is a star athlete, but he also likes smoking weed, which presents a conundrum when his football coach demands he sign a no drugs pledge.
Uh-oh.
Oh, kooky. That's not a good back of the box, I would say. But you can't really... it's hard to capture the story of this movie. I mean, this is as close as it comes to, like, the central plot.
Yeah.
Tagline's better. It was the last day of school in 1976, a time they'd never forget, if only they could remember.
Oh, that's good. It takes a minute to get there.
It does. You could probably lose the last sentence. You could just say 1976, a time they'd never forget.
If only
they could remember.
Yeah. Once again, we're rewriting the taglines and making them better, as we often do.
Master editors of taglines. I would say as it is, it's still a solid B.
Yes.
B tagline. Dazed and Confused, it's Richard Linklater's high school coming-of-age hangout movie about the last day of school from the perspective of next year's incoming freshmen and seniors.
Yes.
Which I was always a little confused about that at first because I was like, well, if they're seniors, why are they sticking around?
Right.
Because they just graduated 2 hours ago. They're not seniors yet. Or maybe they graduated 11th grade or whatever it is 2 hours ago. They're not seniors yet.
No.
But that's what they call them. So this is kind of like Slacker in the sense that it doesn't really have a linear plot. Kind of bounces around from different social groups and situations as it's kind of just like a way of capturing what it's like being a teenager, I guess. You know, like that's the best way to describe it.
Oh, yeah.
As was common in like for a lot of movies in the 90s, this wasn't real popular when it came out.
Which is crazy.
I'm actually not surprised.
Wow, really?
Because, I mean, I don't know. It was marketed at the time as like kind of a zany high school comedy. Like if you watch the old trailers, you're like, this isn't the movie that I watch, you know? It was more like a house party with white people, you know? It was, and like they're getting fucked up and partying on their last day of school and crazy stuff's going to happen and people are falling over. And then like, it's not that movie, you know? No. And I was a teenager when this movie came out and I didn't see it until years later. I mean, I thought it was just some dumb stoner comedy. Yeah. I wasn't a stoner when I was a teenager, you know what I mean? Right. So I'm like, why would I want to see this? It wasn't like Linklater had this great reputation. Yeah. You know, he was just like an indie filmmaker. And so like, I remember like in high school, someone told me about it. I was like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like my kind of thing. Like, it just seems like a dumb movie. Yeah. I had no idea what it was. And it is a hard movie to sell to teenagers in that way, you know?
It is. Yeah.
So I'm not surprised it wasn't a big hit.
That's fair. Yeah, you know, I'm thinking back to when I first saw this, and this movie, I mean, I've seen this countless times, and it feels like it occupies maybe 3 periods in my movie-going past. Yeah. One where I was literally in high school when I first saw this. Yeah. The second phase, college era, when I was still kind of like figuring out what types of movies I liked and whatnot. Yeah. And then now, as a huge fan of Linklater, looking back on it, and it's each time it's through a little bit of a different lens, but every time it's still great for different reasons.
it's yeah, I mean, I think like when I think I probably saw it first in high school. Yeah. If not, it was definitely like a dorm room movie, you know.
For sure.
But even then, like I didn't know really what I was watching. I just knew that like I liked it. It's a bunch of people hanging out, you know. Yeah. I didn't think of it as anything else besides that. Yet as I've gotten older, I've like grown to appreciate it in different ways. And I think like this is kind of to me, I think this is like peak Linklater of like him exploring the way time and memory and experience all interact together.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, it's different from some of his later films that are as kind of vibey as this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking particularly of the Before trilogy. The ensemble cast quality of this and the different moments and crowds that you drop into make this a ton of fun, but it still works in the same way that some of my favorite movies of his do.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So as far as tradition goes, in this town, one of the traditions they have on the last day of high school or the last day of school is that the incoming freshmen get hazed by the incoming seniors. And so for the girls, it's like just humiliation, essentially.
Right.
And for the boys, they kind of get their asses kicked.
Yeah.
And Linklater grew up in Texas in the 70s, and this is based on like real shit that happened in his hometown. At least like the way he remembers it. He's like, yeah, people were just okay with it.
Yeah.
We grew up in a generation where this would be unimaginable, like by the time I saw this movie, I was like, no, that didn't happen. Right.
Right.
Even though like I remember my mom went to Catholic elementary school, I think, and she would tell me stories of like some of the nuns and stuff like punching their students and like slapping the shit out of them. So like, but I was like, well, that's like Catholic school.
Yeah. Right.
So it never like dawned on me that this would just be going down like on a large scale in some town.
Yeah.
And everyone's just cool with it.
Right. This was also before we had people going into schools and shooting each other. So it's like they've replaced just ass kickings with gunning each other.
We definitely lost something, I think. But it does show that like not all traditions are good.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. It's good to evaluate things and be like, well, we don't have to do this. We don't have to let the 17-year-olds kick the shit out of the 13-year-olds every year the last day of school.
Do you wonder when this type of tradition maybe came to a close? I can definitely believe that it happened in the 70s in parts of the country, but what do you think, like early 80s maybe?
I mean, on a large scale, I think the 90s, like I think late 80s, early 90s was when people finally started getting the shit out of their system. Like right before we were in school, like I think, I don't know. That's kind of the impression that I get.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a feeling like a lot of teachers we had in school probably like hit somebody at some point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like they'd been around long enough that they were like, yeah, I slapped a couple of kids around. He was being a smart ass.
Right.
I would say this is probably the movie I've seen the most times in my life.
Is that right?
If I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would be hard pressed to pick another one. This is one of those movies that like throughout my 20s, it was just something we would like put on in the background if we're hanging out, doing other stuff or whatever. It's kind of like the ultimate comfort food movie. You can watch it as kind of Linklater's version of like French New Wave.
Sure.
By way of American independent cinema.
Yeah.
It also kind of does work as just like a funny comedy, like a teen comedy, if you want to watch it for that.
Yeah.
It's not like the funniest comedy of all time, but it's funny consistently.
Oh, yeah. It's funny when it needs to be. It's funny in a believable way. It's not necessarily trying to make you laugh every minute or so, but it's better for it because it's more authentic.
Yeah.
I can't help but to wonder what it is about this movie. And I don't think we're in the minority in saying that this has an enduring quality to it that makes it feel pretty timeless.
Yeah.
It's strange to me that there haven't been more movies that have tried this type of thing or more directors that are as good at it as Linklater is, but it's
that's
kind
a
of
singular talent, though,
it is,
right?
yeah.
Like that's what makes him one of the greats is because he's able to do this thing that almost nobody else can do.
I can't think of another director.
And we've talked about it with the Before movies and whatever else that have been on the shelf, where like he just has this ability to just linger in a moment and a scene in ways that I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you what it is he's doing, but he's just able to do that better than anybody else. It's also like just like a great piece of nostalgia even for somebody who wasn't alive when this movie took place.
Yeah.
It just rings so true to life that it doesn't matter when you grow up. You're like, oh, this is just like what it's like to be this age, you know? And so even though I didn't know people that had these types of cars or listened to this kind of music or wore these clothes, like, I'm like, yeah, this is what it was like when I was 14, 15, 16 years old in a way, you know? It just feels so real, you know? And that's one of the things that makes it just this like pure hangout movie. You know, you can just put it on in the background and do whatever, and you can just hang out with your friends for a while.
Yes.
Hang out with your friends in the movie. If you're bored, if you're lonely, you can put the movie on. Like, it just works on so many levels. Teen sex comedy a little bit. Jock comedy, stoner comedy.
Yeah.
I like to watch it occasionally as just like a vibe check to be like, how am I feeling? You know? It's like, you can judge yourself. I've seen it so many times. I can be like, how do I feel about the world right now?
Totally agree.
You know?
Yeah.
And also, like, maybe the best rock soundtrack of all time.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, is there a better rock soundtrack? I can't imagine there is one. Not from this era, at least.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
So it even just works as background music if you want to use it for that.
Yeah. This was definitely one of those movies that people had the soundtrack for, whether or not they were a fan of the film.
1,000%.
Like,
they put a sequel out to the soundtrack.
That's right.
And I think those songs were all in the movie, but I'm not sure that they all were.
I'm not sure all of them are. It's amazing.
So, Dazed and Confused, it is at 3.9 overall on Letterboxd, which I think is a little bit too low.
Agreed.
24,000 people do have it in their 4 favorites. And 22% agree with my obvious 5-star rating.
It deserves nothing less.
Nothing less. Stars. If it could be 10, it would be 10.
Yeah.
Agreeing with me is Brendan O'Hare, who says, Linklater wanted to make an anti-nostalgia film, but completely underestimated how much fun it looks to drive drunk and beat up children. So, Dazed and Confused, one of my favorite of all time, maybe in the running for greatest American movie, and so I'm putting it up on the shelf this week for the topic of tradition.
Yes. So good.
I can't believe it took us this long to put it on the staff recommendation shelf.
I know. I mean, especially given how often we've talked about Linklater, and I think even referenced this movie.
Yeah.
But
had to be done.
It's about time. Yeah, this one belongs up there. It could fit several themes. I mean, like, the fact that we dodged this for Back to School and Back to School 2.
Yep.
I mean,
I think we avoided it as too obvious for so long, but I think like we've moved beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, there's no such thing as too obvious.
No.
So Dazed and Confused on the list.
Love it. All right. Well, I'm skipping ahead in time to 2019. My first movie is from the pubes section of the store.
Probably not your first movie.
Yeah, when I look around that section, I see some familiar films. So I'm choosing Midsommar, and this is a film that you and I saw together in the theaters.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you watched it since then?
I watched it a couple days ago for this.
Well,
but not between those.
Okay. Yeah, neither had I.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
Well, let me give you and everyone else the back of the box. Several friends travel to Sweden to study as anthropologists, a summer festival that is held every 90 years in the remote hometown of one of the students. What begins as a dream vacation in a place where the sun never sets gradually turns into a dark nightmare as the mysterious inhabitants invite them to participate in their disturbing festive activities. Tagline, let the festivities begin. Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's along that's along the lines of the F1 template.
Yeah, what was that? Like this is just the beginning.
This is the start or something.
Yeah, it is cut from the same cloth. So this is directed by Ari Aster, who's been on the shelf before for Hereditary. Yeah. And Midsommar is the sun-drenched folk horror follow-up to that film that subverts the usual darkness of the horror genre and gives us Florence Pugh in kind of a breakout role as one of the leads. Her name is Danny in this. And she's on this trip with her rather toxic boyfriend, Christian, who's played by Jack Rayner. We also get a supporting cast that includes like Will Poulter, William Jackson, Wilhelm Blomgren. And yeah, this has this is a bright movie. Painterly visuals, a lot of detail put into the costuming, the set design, what have you. But how does it fit the theme? This is a movie that's very rooted in tradition. So it's based on some of the Midsommar traditions associated with those festivals, and there's definitely some real things that they're pulling from, such as like floral crowns and maypole dancing, communal feasts, things like that. But then we have some fictional traditions, such as human sacrifice and fertility rites, that are kind of imagined to heighten the horror here. And
not entirely fictional, I'm sure. I mean, those things have existed.
They have.
As traditions and
yeah, definitely.
Other cultures, maybe.
Yeah, and we're led to believe that the community of people, I hesitate to call this a cult. There's a lot of talk online about it being a cult. It's just an isolated community in my mind, and they uphold these traditions.
It does walk the line, but
it does.
Yeah,
it comes off.
I don't think I would call it a cult.
No. Yeah. And so we're seeing tradition here, kind of blurring the lines between celebration and terror, and suggesting that some perhaps unthinkable things might be happening. So this was conceived as a breakup film when Ari Aster went through a breakup at some point in his life.
Must have gone great.
This is filmed in Hungary, not Sweden, but some really elaborate sets. And I mean, it's a beautiful little community that they've created here. It's a good looking movie. Yeah, it is. Like I said before, the visual palette deliberately bright. And Ari Aster wanted to make a movie that was frightening while the sun was out, and I think he accomplished that. So I know your thoughts on runtimes, and I was sure that when you went back to this, you were not going to choose the 171-minute director's cut to watch.
I did not.
Yeah, you did not.
Although I remember it being longer. It's 2.5 hours, right? Basically.
I think so.
I think it's like 2 hours and 27 minutes. I remember it. I thought it was like 2 hours and 40-something minutes. So at least it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. The director's cut, which I watched.
Okay.
171 minutes. Yeah. A lot of time. But I think it's well spent. Basically, they add like 2 scenes to this and give just a little more context into one character's decision on a thesis and another ritual or tradition that we see this community engaging in that didn't make the theatrical cut. But I chose this because I really like this take on folk horror. Because the audience has no familiarity with how this community operates, you spend a lot of the movie guessing what's going to happen to these visiting Americans. You know, the traditions here are what pull you in. You don't know if it's going to be something quaint that they engage in or something horrifying. Mm-hmm. And that sense of mystery I find really appealing.
It's unsettling.
It is. It is unsettling. And, you know, there's some imagination put into some of the crazy shit that you see happening within this small community. I actually find, upon a rewatch, I had forgotten at how funny this can be at times, because you know we're spending time with these Americans who are visiting, and you know they're engaging in some commentary amongst themselves on some of the weird shit they see happening. And a lot of those lines of dialogue are pretty hilarious.
Yeah, there's some humor to it.
Yeah. But it is a horror movie, and I think it does a good job of building some dread. Upon a second viewing, this is falling into the horror comfort food category for me, which does not include the pube pies that they eat. But yeah, I really dug this. It actually grew on me more after a second viewing. I'm curious how you felt after seeing it again.
Well, I really didn't like it the first time I saw it. Well, I kind of like resented it. You know how I feel about Hereditary.
I do. I do.
Which, and so at that point when we saw this in the theater, I'd seen Hereditary and I was like, there's a lot of promise there, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
And you had invited me, I guess, and all I knew was like the director from Hereditary, and it was supposedly a horror movie. And I didn't know how long it was. And I was just like, cool. I really didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And it was a lot longer than I thought. I had to pee for like the last hour.
Oh.
And I was like, well, surely this movie's very close to being over. And I just sat there thinking that for like the last hour.
Yeah.
And so I kind of found it a little bit boring at that time. And I kind of resented it for having to pee the whole time. And so like,
I gotcha.
I walked out of that movie. I gave it 3 stars. This was in the early days of when like I was like logging everything into Letterboxd, and I hadn't quite figured out my star rating.
Right.
And so going back to it this time, I was like, it might very well be a 2-star movie.
Okay.
I did like it better this time.
Good.
I didn't like it that. I still didn't like it that much. It's got a lot of great visual ideas. I like the stuff it's doing with the wavy backgrounds and the talking flowers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's got some interesting ideas like about, the relationships and travel and tradition, I guess. But I think just overall, like, it doesn't, like, there's not enough going on is the best way I can put it.
That's interesting. So this is another case for me where I just love marinating in this world and would take another hour and 71 minutes of this. But I did find myself feeling upon this viewing like there isn't somebody in this collection of Americans who behaved in a way that, I don't know. I think I might have. Yeah. Like, I mean, everyone really kind of like fucks themselves in some way, shape, or form.
And it's preposterous. This trip is preposterous. Agreeing to go on this trip, like, at the drop of a hat is preposterous.
Oh, I agree.
Like, I don't know.
I think that if I were there, I would be horrified by the things that were happening, but I would probably say to myself, you know what? Play it cool and just get the fuck out of here.
Just get out.
When the time is right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think they make mention at some point of like, well, they're not going to want us to leave, or the idea of getting out of there is...
I think that's why, like, because they are isolated.
They are.
I think that's why making academic study part of it kind of creates this like distance that some of these characters are like trying to give it, and so that kind of justifies we're like, no, like we have to respect this, instead of just being like, well, I shouldn't have brought my fucking girlfriend, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm here like for purely academic reasons, like I'm not bringing, this isn't like a guy's trip, do you know what I mean? Like it's like they couldn't figure out from the character's perspective, like, is this like a fun trip or is this a study thing? Like,
right. I did appreciate that this movie I think they did a good job of giving us what The Invitation didn't. Because we talked during our discussion around The Invitation of, why is nobody saying, we're leaving right fucking now? Yeah. But in this, we get a decent amount of that. Yeah, and people are rightfully like horrified by what they're seeing and ready to go.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
So, critics liked this. Mm-hmm. I think that some were a little put off by how graphic it gets at certain points. It does have a 3.8 average on Letterboxd, 31% agreeing with my 4-star review, and 54,000 have this on their list of 4 favorites. It was a big hit for A24 on a $10 million budget. It made $48 million worldwide. And this is the movie that kind of gave us Florence Pugh. So as I've done in the past, I plucked Patrick Willems' 4-star review because he kind of agreed with me on my rating. And he said, the best version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory since 1971. Which,
interesting.
Yeah. Kind of not a take that I immediately would have ever gone to, but after I read that, I was like, yeah, okay, I can see what...
It could fit into that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that written out.
Yeah, for sure.
In a presentation.
So that's my first pick, Midsommar. And I'm glad that it didn't decrease for you in terms of star rating. And just stayed where it is.
Stay at 3.
And maybe was a little bit better than the first time you saw it.
But like Hereditary, I'm not rushing to watch it again.
Yeah. Well, I think one conversation that we had upon leaving this was that, well, if Ari Aster is only going to tell me stories about grief, I'm not interested in seeing his movies. And he does seem like he is stuck in that rut.
And anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring us up to the year of 2023.
Okay.
The movie is Bottoms. You can find this in the muff diving section of the store. Here's the back of the box. Unpopular best friends PJ and Josie start a high school self-defense club to meet girls and lose their virginity. They soon find themselves in over their heads when the most popular students start beating each other up in the name of self-defense. Tagline, a movie about empowering women. The hot ones, in parentheses.
Funny like this movie is.
Yeah. This is a high school comedy starring Ayo Adebiri, Rachel Sennett, who is also a co-writer along with the director.
Yeah.
And Marshawn Lynch, among others, which I think this is like the first thing he was in. I think he's done a few things since. So this was directed by Emma Seligman, who is now batting 1,000 for the staff recommendation shelf.
Yeah.
She was on for Shiva Baby.
2 movies, 2 recommendations.
2 features, that's right.
Yeah.
So 2 main characters are lesbians who are kind of outcasts at their high school. Not because they're gay, but just because like they're losers. Like nobody likes them. It's basically their problem. Right. So they start a so-called self-defense club to hang out with their cheerleader crushes, but it's really more of a fight club because they don't know anything about self-defense, but they're also like, yeah, we can punch each other in the face, right? It's very much like a neo Let's Get Laid comedy. It's kind of like a Superbad or American Pie.
Very much.
Seligman, I saw a quote from her. She said she wanted it to be a, quote, campy queer high school comedy in the vein of Wet Hot American Summer, but more for a Gen Z queer audience, which, cool, that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
But I also found that kind of funny because Wet Hot American Summer has possibly the most graphic sex scene between 2 men I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah. I mean...
it's not a super gay movie, but like...
But it's not
it's
gay.
Not gay. There's a lot of gay in that. So how does this fit the theme? While the main plot is happening, while they're doing the fight club, the self-defense stuff, the school is preparing for this big upcoming football game with their main rival. And I think it's a tradition that most people are familiar with if you've been to like a high school or a college. Like every football team has a big rival. Even bad football teams have like that one team on the schedule. They're like, yeah, we're like, fuck them.
Yeah.
We're probably going to lose, but they're like our big rival. So there's always like this big game. And the way it's portrayed in the movie is very much through the perspective of characters who like barely know what football is, right? Or why it's the big game, what that even means, you know? It's like none of this football stuff makes sense unless you're like familiar with how sports works. Yeah. Like this game is like has been hyped for 20 years. That's not how this works. Like that's how sports ever works. Yeah. You know, the school is excited for weeks about this one game. Like they just play one game, and like the players wear full pads at all times, like every day that they're in school. Yeah. So like as somebody myself who used to be a big sports fan, but now like basically avoids it entirely. This actually makes a lot of sense to me because, like, I don't know how Seligman and Sennett view sports. I'm imagining they're not big fans.
Yeah, I think this tells us how they feel.
But it's also one of those things that like you can't escape it in our culture. It's just, it's such a big part of life and culture. It's everywhere. Yeah. And so you end up experiencing it one way or another, right?
Yep.
And so like if you don't care and like you're not paying attention to it, you just kind of experience it as this big dumb thing that people put this importance on, but like you don't actually have to pay attention to it because it doesn't actually matter.
Right.
You know? It's just like, and so like if you don't pay attention to it, it's kind of like these hazy details, right? Like everyone's making a big deal about this big game. It's like, well, how often doesn't it happen? Like, I don't know, every 20 years? Like, I don't fucking know. Like, and so like, who knows? Like, that's just what it seems like, you know? Yeah. Oh, they're the high school football players. Like, they just wore their uniforms every day, right? Like, that's how you remember it because, like, you don't actually care, you know? And it's like, that's just kind of how the tradition of the big game feels to some people. It's like, yeah, it's this big tradition. And so, but like, that's also kind of like how everything is in this universe.
Yeah.
You know, especially around, like, everything around the main story is just a little bit off. You know, like the football team, when they're practicing, if you look in the background, they're just kind of like tossing the football around like it's a basketball or something. They're like doing little dances, light jogging. They're just like running in circles, and it's like no one's attempting to play football. You know, it's and like even during the game, they do a lot of standing around and dancing. You know, they're just kind of pantomiming football. Yeah. All the background actors in this are just like a little bit too active.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're really into what they're doing. There's a lot of repeated movements, so almost like NPCs in a way.
Yes.
And like it's not super noticeable, but it just struck me that like it has to be kind of on purpose. I don't know, like the world, there's like a lot of junk in this world too, I noticed. There's just like stuff everywhere, magazines and trinkets and bottles and cans and this and that. And then I thought like there's nobody on their phones in this movie. So like, and it doesn't take place in the past.
Right.
I didn't see one phone. So it's almost like they took all of like the junk from the phone world and just like threw it on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's like the hum. That's kind of what happens in our phones, right? Like there's no matter what you're doing, there's this hum of other stuff going on all the time that seems very active and like da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And you can look away from it, but it's always there.
Yeah.
You know, and there's always somebody like waving a sandwich around for no reason in the cafeteria, you know, and like that's just kind of how the world feels now for teenagers, I think.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think they did a really good job of just like throwing it up on the screen and just like, this is kind of what it feels like, even if they're not holding the phone, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it gives this movie the quality of existing outside of time and actually quite unlike Dazed and Confused. I think this is going to still feel modern and relevant generations into the future. Or not generations, but years into the future, regardless of, you know, what things are like now. There's probably a lot here that is still going to feel relatable to kids that are in high school.
So Bottoms, it is at 3.8 overall in Letterboxd. 36,000 people have it in their 4 favorites. So it's a popular movie with the kids. 28% agree with my 4-star rating, including Bargov, who says, the mascot having a dick is insane. Which I actually don't remember, but I'm going to take his word for it.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember that either.
I don't remember it, but like I believe it. You know, the mascot probably did have a dick. And next time I watch this movie, I'm going to look for it. So
I really love this director and Rachel Sennett. I think they have a particular sense of humor that feels effortless, and whether it's the way the jokes are written or the way the comedy is performed in the movie, it just works. And this movie had me laughing quite often.
Yeah, they're funny. Like, it's a funny movie. It's a comedy that's funny.
Yeah.
And we always say, like, oh, you don't get a lot of those now.
Yeah.
But we get some, and this is one, and it's good. So, putting it up on the shelf this week.
I'm glad you did. This was awesome. How many stars did you give this?
4.
4?
Yeah.
That's right where I have it. I wonder if we're going to agree on the star ratings for your 3 movies tonight.
I guess we'll see. I have a feeling we will.
I think so, too. All right. For my second pick, I'm going to from the things you can milk section of the store. And this is from 1999. My second pick is Meet the Parents. Back of the box synopsis here. Greg Fokker is ready to marry his girlfriend Pam, but before he pops the question, he must win over her formidable father, humorless former CIA agent Jack Burns, at the wedding of Pam's sister. As Greg bends over backward to make a good impression, his visit to the Burns' home turns into a hilarious series of disasters, and everything that can go wrong does, all under Jack's critical, hawk-like gaze. Tagline here, first comes love, then comes the interrogation, which, it feels a little forced.
Yeah.
So this is directed by Jay Roach, who helmed all of the Austin Powers movies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a few comedies to his name, but this became a major box office hit in 2000. It's got Ben Stiller as Greg Fokker, Robert De Niro playing kind of against his type, delivering probably the funniest performance that I can remember seeing him.
I mean, this is his foray into comedy, right? I don't think he did it before this.
Well, I can't remember where Analyze This and Analyze That came out, but
one of those two.
Yeah, it's in that realm. It was definitely when he was trying to just do something a little different, and it works. I mean, he's quite funny in this. We also get Blythe Danner. Owen Wilson is here as Pam's wealthy ex-fiance, and yeah, the humor is definitely built on escalating embarrassments, cringe-inducing misunderstandings, and yeah, De Niro's deadpan menace. But how does it fit the theme? So this revolves around the tradition of asking a father's permission before proposing, which is such a weird thing, and I know it still happens, but yeah, I think this movie understands that it's a bit of a silly tradition.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to like when like your family was your property days. Like right. It's like it's not like it doesn't serve any useful purpose now.
Yeah,
I guess like I don't know. I guess there could be reasons to do it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is a little silly.
It does feel just very dated.
Yeah.
But it's
like, what if he says no? It's like, well, you know, like,
it's not like I'm gonna
like in the movies they're always
propose.
like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this movie understands that that's a bit of an absurd practice, especially in modern times. But it thrives on taking this simple tradition and kind of blowing it up into a high-stakes gauntlet where, you know, family dynamics and cultural expectations and personal pride all collide, you know?
Yeah.
So apparently this was based on a 1992 indie film of the same name, which I didn't even know existed, but...
American?
I don't know. Universal bought the rights to it and reimagined it on a larger scale. Jim Carrey was originally set to play the Ben Stiller part, and I'm glad it went to Stiller.
Yeah,
it
would have been weird.
Yeah, I think Carrey would have taken it to a zany place, and Ben Stiller's more grounded take on it, I think, is what helps make it pretty funny. And yeah, there was some improvisation here. Apparently, the whole polygraph scene was improvised. In part with De Niro really kind of just driving that forward. And this did lead to two sequels, Meet the Fockers and The Little Fockers, but neither managed to kind of capture the...
Making another one.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it's coming out this year, I think.
What's it called?
I don't know. Meet somebody, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure there's a new one coming out, though.
Oh, wow. How interesting. So why did I choose this? I find this movie to be very funny.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely depends on you enjoying that cringe-inducing embarrassment by proxy sense of humor, not unlike Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But
Ben Stiller is really good at that.
Oh, he's so good at that.
I don't know that Jim Carrey would have been the same.
No.
It wouldn't be the same type of humor, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I had forgotten. It had been a while since I had seen this, and I had forgotten a lot of the comedy beats especially. And I was in stitches when Ben Stiller was telling the story of milking the cat. His name was Geppetto. Yeah. There's just a lot of stuff. I mean, even just like where Pam turns on the light in a bedroom and Ben Stiller's sitting on the headboard just kind of beside himself. Like, there's a lot here that really just got me in the right way. And I still find it funny. Not everyone, it's not going to work for everyone. I get that. But thematically, I do appreciate how this kind of turns a simple tradition, asking a father for his blessing, into a minefield of missteps. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Where did you come out on this?
It's a 3 for me. Okay. I don't think I'd seen it since it came out on video.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty funny. I'm going to go back to it eventually.
Yeah. Well, it averages a 3.3 on Letterboxd, which is kind of right between the two of us. 433 users have it on their list of 4 favorites. I have this at 4 stars along with 20% of users. It was a big box office hit. Ended up grossing $330 million worldwide on a $55 million budget. And Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, noting that it works because we can all identify with the nightmare of trying and failing to impress someone else's parents. I did pluck user KT's 4-star review from Letterboxd where they said, Get Out meets Modern Family, which, yeah, kind of has...
Not really familiar with Modern Family, but...
I don't think you need to be.
Yeah. Big fan of Ben Stiller, though.
Yeah. He's been on the shelf before for his comedy chops, and I'm sure he'll make it up there again. But yeah, this is going on the shelf for me. My second pick, Meet the Parents.
Okay. I'm going to take us back to 1989. The movie is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Almost as quotable as Battlefield Earth.
Maybe. This is filed under tremendous content. I apologize. Here's the back of the box. It's Christmas time, and the Griswolds are preparing for a family seasonal celebration. But things never run smoothly for Clark, his wife Ellen, and their 2 kids. Clark's continual bad luck is worsened by his obnoxious family guests, but he manages to keep going, knowing that his Christmas bonus is due soon. Tagline, You'll crack up.
Oh. I know how that's spelled.
Yeah. Yes, you do. This is the 3rd movie in the National Lampoon's Vacation series.
After European and just Vacation?
Just Vacation. And then I think they had Vegas and something else maybe after that. I don't remember. Then they remade Vacation.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the original series with Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo. This one finds the Griswolds staying at home, staycation, for their extended families hosting for the holidays. This is directed by Jeremiah Chechik, but written by John Hughes, based on a short story he wrote for the Lampoon called Christmas 59.
Wow.
And, it's got incredible performances from Randy Quaid, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Brian Doyle Murray, the leads.
Randy Quaid steals every scene that he's in.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. It's impossible. His clothes steal every scene that he's in.
They do.
So how does this fit the theme? Well, this is my favorite Christmas movie. We don't get to talk about Christmas movies a lot because we kind of chosen Halloween as like the official special episode holiday of the store,
right?
And like we do the awards show at the end, and so like we don't really get and Christmas most times of the year doesn't make a lot of sense, the Christmas movies.
No.
So we don't really get to talk about them.
No.
But this is my favorite of all the Christmas movies.
Okay.
And the reason is because it gets the traditions of American Christmas that as I experience it, you know?
Yeah.
It's the Santa Claus Christmas traditions. You know, it's about gathering with family that you don't necessarily want to spend time with. It's about shopping for gifts at a crowded mall. fucking off for the entire month of December at work, decorating your house, wearing sweaters, Santa caps, all the Christmas stuff, and that's what this movie is about. It's not about trying to set up an idealized Christmas or something like that.
Definitely not.
And so since it's my favorite Christmas movie, I watch it every Christmas. It's one of my favorite Christmas traditions. I can't imagine watching it outside of the Christmas season.
No.
And that is a big Christmas tradition for me, is like, I don't watch Christmas movies until at least November, right? I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, I would say it doesn't start for me until after Thanksgiving. I mean, I'm not watching Christmas movies before I eat turkey.
Okay.
That's my take.
That's your take.
Yeah.
I don't really have complete say in it necessarily,
Right.
But I do kind of put my foot down with my wife. I'm like, listen, it's got to wait till like at least after Halloween.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. Like watching any Christmas movie in like July, like that's just, no,
can't do it.
You can't do it. You can't do it. Why would I recommend this movie? It's just one of my favorite movies, period. Yeah. I watch it at least once a year. I can't imagine a Christmas season without it.
No,
it's insanely funny. I could go through all the lines.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Slapstick comedy by Chevy Chase is out of this world.
Yes.
Margot and Todd, great character. I mean, like every scene of this movie is just fantastic.
Maybe this is just my opinion on Christmas movies, but perhaps the reason that I can't imagine watching this at a different time of year is that great Christmas movies, in my opinion, are in such short supply that I would never want to waste a viewing of one of the greats at a different time of year when, I really want to just make sure I'm watching the good ones around Christmas time.
I think also because Christmas is it's such a, I don't want to say oppressive, but like it's such a heavy time of year, as in like, Christmas movies are all over the place on cable channels or streaming services. You can't escape it. If you go out in public, it's Christmas this, Christmas that. I think, at least for me, like by the time I get to the beginning of January, I'm like, all right, like enough. Like I enjoyed it, but like, okay.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when you're on vacation and you have a vacation that's just a little bit too long, and you're just like, you know what? I never thought I'd.
I'm ready.
It's time to go home. Yeah, like I think I want to go back to work. It's kind of like that. So I think, like, to me, it's just like I don't want to spoil not just the movie but Christmas. Like I don't want to like extend it out. Like a couple weeks is fine.
Yeah,
That's all I really need to deal with. The writing in this is amazing. I think. One thing John Hughes is so good at is he's so good at getting the feel of stuff right, even if he doesn't get details right a lot of times.
Oh, for sure.
Like he just gets what it feels like to be like stuck with your family in the house during Christmas over the holidays, and no one has anything to do. You know?
Family that you're not really that excited to spend much time with.
And he I don't know, he's able to just like. It's not quite stream of consciousness but like he's just so good to like he's just so good at like capturing the feeling of that.
Did he have a hand in any of the other National Lampoon Vacation movies?
I think so.
For some reason, none of them even come close to having the same staying power or are as funny, in my opinion, as this one.
I agree.
Yeah.
But a lot of people completely disagree. There's a lot of people who think the original Vacation is great. It never like caught with me for whatever. It's just like a little bit too old too. I think like it was 84 or 3 or something.
Yeah. And this movie isn't that much new. I mean, 89, that's 36 years ago. Maybe it's the fact that so many of the things in this movie that we see happen were still doing as a culture, and like all the stupid stuff that defines Christmas back then is still true today. And it doesn't matter that they don't have cell phones or whatever. Like this movie doesn't feel dated in the same way that other movies from 1989 do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Christmas Vacation is rated 3.5 overall on Letterboxd, 1,400 people have it in their 4 favorites. I imagine that number is a little higher around the holiday season, but who knows?
Yeah.
16% agree with my 5-star rating, including Kayla, who wrote, "Clark is the biggest dumbass. I love him." So I'm putting Christmas Vacation on the shelf for the topic of tradition.
Have you seen Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure?
I have not. I think it was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, I think it was too.
I think it's in the 1-point-somethings on Letterboxd.
Oh,
so
really?
I don't know that I'm going to be tracking that down.
No, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Cousin Eddie is among my favorite parts of the original Christmas Vacation. But all right, well, awesome selection. I am going back in time, but not as far as you did. My final pick is from 1992, and it is the movie Baraka. So let me give you the back of the box for this. Filmed across 24 countries on 6 continents, Baraka is a documentary that explores humanity, spirituality, and the natural world through breathtaking imagery and music. Without dialogue or narration, the film captures rituals, ceremonies, landscapes, and traditions, placing side by side the sacred and the profane, the ancient and the modern. Tagline, "A world beyond words."
It works.
Yeah, it's fine. So this was directed by Ron Frick, and it is kind of a cinematic meditation on Earth, often described as kind of a guided tour without a guide. And yeah, it kind of functions as a visual symphony, weaving together images of religious rituals and industrial sprawl, wilderness, human suffering. It's both like overwhelming and a little bit hypnotic at the same time. Yeah. Less of a traditional documentary and more of kind of an experiential journey. I think I had some...
But in the tradition of documentary.
In the tradition of documentaries, yeah. I had some advice for you on maybe how to approach this. I don't know if you followed that or not.
Not a problem.
Okay. I mean, this is a movie that you can get high for and put on. It's also a movie that you can not be high for at all. And still,
if you're that kind of person.
If you're that kind of person, yeah. But yeah, tradition is really the heartbeat of this movie. So we get, chanting monks in Tibet, whirling dervishes in Turkey, indigenous tribes performing ceremonies of all sorts, and the bustling rituals of modern cities. And we're kind of surveying all of these traditions across cultures and places that are, I don't know, they're all in kind of conversation with each other.
Yeah.
So rather than explaining or contextualizing what we're seeing, Baraka just presents these as lived experiences, equally valid, equally powerful. And I think the lack of commentary gives the audience a chance to reflect on what they're seeing without necessarily trying to make sense of it or learn something about it. It's more just exposure. Like I said, this was filmed all over the world. Ron Frick had been the cinematographer on Koyaanisqatsi, which this gets compared to a lot. Many scenes required special access, such as permission to film inside Mecca during prayer and in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. And this was shot on 70 millimeter and using one of the first ever 8K digital transfers.
Oh, wow.
It hasn't made its way to 4K yet, but the film exists so that it can be brought to higher definition in the future, which is great. It deserves to be. I mean, it's beautiful to watch, in high definition.
Like the cinematography is just out of this world.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really makes you wonder how they captured a lot of this, especially in such a candid, fly-on-the-wall type of way, because the people you're seeing don't often...
I mean, this had to take years,
It
right?
must have. It must have, yeah. But yeah, why did I choose this? This is about kind of experiencing tradition through pure observation, and doesn't stop to tell you where you are or what you're seeing. I first saw this in college in either 99 or 2000, and that was before you could even really like look up on the web where some of this stuff took place or what it is that you're seeing. So there was a real sense of mystery to it when I first saw it, and I watched it a bunch in college. So it almost kind of became a little bit of a tradition during that time in my life. But it's kind of like National Geographic the movie or Planet Earth before we got that series.
It's telling a story, it does have a story about, indigenous cultures being overtaken by the modern world, essentially.
For sure, yeah.
Without having to, have people tell you anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of tells that story. Just like that one scene is worth the price of admission alone, and where all the dudes are, standing around. And it's towards the first 15, 20 minutes where they're all in the circle doing the ceremony with the clacky and the things they're making with their noises.
Oh my God.
And it was this can't be the real noise, right? But they're really doing it.
Yeah, they're really doing it.
And it goes on and on. It's so awesome.
I mean, there's a lot that you gain from there not being narration in this. And one of those qualities is the sound design. I mean, to be able to actually hear what you're seeing is remarkable. But I mean this is very much a vibe movie for me. It's kind of a visual prayer, a reminder of how much beauty there is in the world.
You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
Well, it actually is the exact opposite of the movie, but the experience of watching it reminded me of My Dinner with Andre in the sense that you can just kind of get lost in thought.
Oh my God.
And all of a sudden you're just whoa, where am I again? I was just thinking about whatever this movie got me thinking about, and all of a sudden I'm somewhere else now. And it was that experience of watching it in that way was very similar to My Dinner with Andre.
That's a great comparison. And I do think this movie wants you to be thinking while you're watching it, and not necessarily about specifically what you're seeing, but just whatever journey it takes you on.
Right, you're just kind of experiencing the sounds and the sights, and your mind is wandering about whatever else.
So I'm surprised. It almost sounds... I was feeling like you might not like this movie. Where did you come
I don't know
this?
why you would think that. This is extremely my jam.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I was worried about runtime and...
it wasn't long. It was 90-some minutes. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it can feel long if you're not ready to go on this ride.
Yeah.
But I think for those who are, every minute is worth the price of admission.
Oh, yeah. No, I dug it. I gave it 4 stars.
Great. This was not a mainstream box office success. It has achieved kind of enduring recognition as a landmark of non-narrative cinema. It has a 4.3 average on Letterboxd. 34% of users agreeing with my 5-star rating. I just love this film. And I couldn't find a lot of entertaining takes on Letterboxd, but I did pluck Brady's 4-star review where he said, "My Letterboxd is now a Stan account for the chill-ass monkey at the beginning." So that's my third and final pick for tradition, and it is the movie Baraka. As is tradition, we've come to the end of the episode with 6 new movies on the beloved staff recommendation shelf. This week, we tackled the theme of tradition, and the movies we chose are Dazed and Confused, Midsommar, Bottoms, Meet the Parents, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and Baraka.
If you don't have time to stop into the store, you can visit us 24 hours a day at rewindvideopod.com. You can also find us on Letterboxd or Blue Sky, or send us an email at rewindvideopod@gmail.com. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share the podcast with all of your friends who love movies.
Rob, I'm looking ahead at the calendar, and I see a theme coming up that was suggested to us by one of our devoted listeners, which goes to show that people do actually correspond with us as you've been instructing them to.
Exactly. Yeah, they do as I am telling them to.
Right. Yeah. And the theme that was recommended is controversy. Now,
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I can't think of any instance where either of us have chosen a controversial pick for the staff recommendation.
I can't imagine a bigger controversy than allowing our customers to choose the topic for the show. But you do you, man.
Yep. As usual, we'll have 6 movies to recommend, but if you're looking for something in the meantime, feel free to hit us up for a movie to watch, and we will see you next time.
Be kind, recommend.